On September 10th, 2025, at Utah Valley University, Turning Point USA hosted a Prove Me Wrong rally as part of their American Comeback Tour. Conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was scheduled to lead the event, engaging in several hours of open debate with college students. Among the more than 3,000 attendees, one student, Henry Dells, was selected to begin the discussion.
Our next guest was the first person to take the mic at Kirk's event.
Or my claim is that Mormonism, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is more historically accurate than Protestantism. Prove me wrong.
And so you can see him there asking about religion in the Mormon Church.
What Henry didn't know at the time is that he would become the last person ever to have a full debate with Charlie Kirk.
Henry, obviously, I'm very sorry for what you witnessed and what you have now gone through.
Immediately after their exchange, Henry passed the microphone to the next participant. Moments later, a rifle shot ranged out from nearly 150 yards away, striking Charlie Kirk in the neck, killing him. Henry joins me now to tell the entire story from his perspective of what happened on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. This is the Here's What Happened podcast.
Check.
Test,
Hello.
test,
Hello.
test,
Jesus
test,
is on
test,
my
test.
screen.
Yes, I love it.
Sweet.
Show the camera. Here's his message.
I'm the little lamb.
There he is. That's good. Henry, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me. Crazy week, man. Crazy week. Still not processing it at all, I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
My therapist has told me that, actually.
You're not
So-
processing it?
Not processing it the way a lot of people would. It's very reserved, and he thinks my body's still, or my, not my body,
Something's
my
wrong
trans-
with you.
Something's wrong. He's like, your body's not wanting to process the emotions that should come out from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I mean, I get little snippets, little areas where I do kind of feel
Yeah.
those little anxiety
Yeah.
from it and all that stuff. But yeah,
You haven't been sleeping much, you said?
not much.
Yeah.
No, because I kind of get these reoccurring flashbacks, and when I try to go to bed, and it's kind of like it's not like I could just put it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, type thing.
Well, thanks so much for sitting down. Thank you so much for being here. For everyone listening, we are here. We're at Utah Valley University. We are a couple 100 feet from where Charlie Kirk was just assassinated 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Henry was the last person to ever have a full conversation with him, to ever have a full debate, to ever talk about his faith.
Yeah, his faith, his testimony, his last laugh, his last giggle.
Ugh.
I saw that. Everyone's been pointing that out. And I posted my little initial question before my phone overheated and stopped recording. But
Does it feel like an honor or a burden?
I don't feel like it was an honor for me. But I don't want it to be like, dude, look, you were the last. I don't want it to be on me, to be
Mhm.
honest. Like, it was an honor
About
for,
you.
Yeah, I don't want it to be about me. It was an honor for me as an individual, yes. But the spotlight does not need to be on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The spotlight needs to be on God-inspired one, I guess you could say, an individual. I guess you could say it was me, whatever, to talk about God. But the sequence that I was the first question, Charlie got his last testimony out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a perfect example of what he preached.
It was kind of both. It's kind of an honor and a burden. And I hate to use the word honor in a way that people might say sounds insensitive in this context.
Yeah.
But when
yeah.
there's a part of you that will always be burdened by what happened that day. The
Yep.
fact that I'm the last person he ever talked to. But I would say there's nothing insensitive about also saying that it can be kind of an honor to have been the one to make him laugh,
Yeah,
laugh,
it's a laugh.
right?
Yeah, a little giggle. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
no,
an
'cause
honor
he's-
to be the last debater, right?
Yeah, of course, because it was like one of those things where, like, I knew we had just a difference in religion,
Yeah.
and I knew he loved debate. That's what his whole thing was, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
My initial thing was he's usually saying prove me
Yeah.
wrong. I was the one who'd say,
You said you opened up when you walked up. You said What was your opening question?
I said, Charlie, we agree on a lot of things. I had to find something that we didn't agree on. That's religion. I said, my thing is, I believe Mormonism's more theologically correct historically than Protestantism. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, and everyone he
And
laughed.
he laughed. And then he
Yeah,
laughed.
he laughed.
He had his little
Aw.
giggle. And it was from the jump. It was what he came for,
Yeah.
what he loved to do. And he got to testify at it after it. So,
Well,
So,
Henry,
yeah.
thanks for making time for this. Thank you for joining me.
of course,
Anything crazy happened this last week?
dude, a lot happened, man.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there's the Charlie Kirk thing, but dude, my week's been kind of crazy with work. It was one thing on top of another, than this.
So, not to make you relive the moment, but my understanding is you were the very first person to speak.
Yeah.
To Charlie.
Yeah.
And then you passed the mic over, and within
Dude, it felt like within like a minute later, like, cause I think the other kid asked maybe one question, Charlie
do
answered.
me a favor real quick. This lift up your mic just a little bit.
Oh. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that looks good.
There you go. Yeah,
But-
better. But yeah, as little movement on the table as possible. It's good.
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry, I interrupted you.
No. So,
So you passed the
I
mic
passed-
over.
Yeah, passed the mic over to the next kid, and he only really got off 2 questions, and then in the midst of the second, or I think at the very end of the second, dude, just happened kind of real quick.
Well, I'll give you the chance to retell all of that during this conversation in a bit. Tell me about you a little bit. Do you live here? Do you go to school here?
So I do live here. Haven't lived here that long, actually. I've only been here for about 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
I think I moved here in March.
How old are you?
24.
24. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
24. Yeah, I moved here in March. I actually, dumb of me, but like I moved out here for a girl. And
Is this still a thing?
no,
Dude.
this was what I was telling you, where I had multiple things that happened this week.
Oh shoot!
yeah.
This just ended.
Well, yes, but I found out she was a big cheater and liar and a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh
and
god! Does she live here?
Yeah,
So she lives here. You moved here for her.
Yeah, she's a divorced mom, and
Okay.
she has 2 kids. But
Stepdad season.
yeah,
You were ready to
I
go.
was trying to, man. I was adopted, dude. So like understanding like a good father figure needing
Mm-hmm.
to be present in the house is
Mhm.
like I understood that because I looked at my dad, and I saw how important his presence was for me growing up, and so I was like, dang, one, I love this girl, and then secondly, I felt for her kids. So I was
Mhm.
like, I want these kids to have the best
Yeah.
thing. Then come to find out, she's sleeping around with
You
other
found that out
people.
this week?
Yep, Sunday. So I found it out. Yeah, I found out Sunday before the event, before
Before
Wednesday.
the event.
Yeah, well, the Sunday before the event with Charlie, and so
So it's not been a good week.
no, it hasn't been a good week,
Yeah.
bro. And it's been one of those things where she gave me a picture that was painted of her ex-husband and that I believed, and she had me block him on everything so he couldn't reach out.
She painted a picture?
Yeah, so
Oh,
basically, so
in my head.
No,
I'm
no.
thinking she drew you a picture. I'm like, what?
yeah, no.
I'm not the
No.
sharpest. Okay?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not the
you're good,
sharpest.
dude.
Listen.
Well, I'm not either. So I think it's funny because a lot of people, whenever they hear me do my debates or something, they're like, "Dude, you're pretty articulate and smart." I'm like, "Nah." A lot of the times, I'm really not. But
It's the Riz, man. It just comes off.
It's what it feels like, dude. It's what it feels like.
So
Bless his
you
soul.
moved here for a girl. Didn't work out. You gonna move away? Or are you sticking around?
I don't plan on it. I do some construction work here and trying to
Okay.
I have some business partners and stuff. So we opened up a construction abatement company out here. So I've been trying to scale that out and build some reputation.
I've
around
never
here.
been this far. I think I was telling you, I've never been this far west before. This is
Yeah.
like 1,000 miles further west than I've ever been. And you can see behind me on the camera here, we're
mountain,
completely
yeah.
surrounded by mountains. That
Yep.
way, this way.
Yep.
I'm like in awe over it. Like we're flying in
It's
and we get into the
pretty.
clouds and I was like, holy smokes. I mean,
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Dude,
It is gorgeous.
It is. It's completely different from Texas too, because I was actually raised out in East Texas, and it was nothing but like forest and brush and stuff up
Okay.
there. You got some hills and stuff,
Yeah.
but you don't have mountains,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, that
And
was
so,
for the east I've been. I spent a lot of time in Dallas.
yeah.
So one of my best buddies lives in Dallas, and I have
Okay.
a bunch of friends there. So I try and go. Like I've been there like 5 or 6 times this year.
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
just hanging
Dude,
out.
Dallas is cool, man. Dallas is, so, dude, ironically enough, like, since all this stuff that's happening and stuff like that, especially with Charlie, and I used to actually live in Frisco. And it was soon after when I moved is when that thing happened with the track meet with Carmelo Anthony and the
Oh.
stabbing of that one kid.
When was that?
Dude, I think it was in April.
I was gonna say that feels like
Maybe.
it was either early
It
this
was
year.
Yeah, it was earlier this year when it
Wow.
happened, but they kind of played it out a little bit longer.
You're
The
cursed, man.
process
It
of
follows you.
Dude, it was not fun. It was like I called my buddy.
Was that in Frisco?
Yeah, Frisco High School. It was a Frisco High School track event.
Golly.
Yeah, dude, and I thought it was crazy because as soon as I moved over here, I called my one of my old business partners, Ken, who still lives in Frisco, and I was like, dude, did this seriously just happen at the high school? And he was like, yeah. He goes, this kid just randomly went up and, well, randomly, of course, there's probably a lead up to it, but
Right.
I don't want to say it was random, but yeah, he
You don't
said
know.
he went up. Yeah, he went up and just did this act, and I was like, that's crazy. That's insane.
So why were you? Do you go to school here?
Oh,
Oh, you don't go to college here.
no. So
Oh,
I got
okay.
some friends that go to college here.
Oh, okay.
So I got a Jewish friend like Sneer. He goes here. I got a couple of other buddies. I got a friend who just graduated last semester from
Okay.
here, and so I just had some friends that kind of were posting and talking about how Charlie was coming to campus and how it was basically like what he's always done, like a open public like dialogue debate thing. And so I was working that morning, got some work done. I was like, all right, I'm gonna head over there and I'm gonna see if I can't get an opportunity to
So
talk
you
to
just had some
Charlie.
friends say, "Hey, Charlie's gonna be here."
Yeah.
And you showed up.
Yeah, yep. And then I got a flyer from them, and yeah, dude, it was a unique opportunity that I thought I was like, if I can get in line.
Did you? I mean, were you super familiar with Charlie beforehand?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
I listen to his debates on YouTube all the time. So
Are
if
you a
I've-
fan of Charlie's?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I love Charlie. Like, I mean, I don't obviously like. There's a couple of things that we wouldn't agree on all the time, but like for the majority, I agreed on him on pretty much everything when it came to
Politically.
politics,
Mhm.
politically. Yeah. So I actually went up to Charlie and I said, hello, Charlie. Actually, a big fan. It's like I actually had to find something that I disagreed with you on to be able to.
That was your opening to him?
Yeah, it was my opening to him. So I was like, introduced myself. I told him how, I pretty much aligned with him politically, had to
Mhm.
find something to disagree with him on.
How
and
did you
stuff.
get at that point of the line that you were first? Were you there early, or how does that
So
work?
I was there semi early, but like before they started telling everyone where the line was gonna form, they had some people that were volunteers for Turning Point, and they basically were telling me, or some of the people, they're like, okay, who wants to ask a question? Raise your hands and stuff like that. Whoever wants to ask a question and stuff like that. And they kind of asked us like, yo, what's your question gonna be? What's your question gonna be? And so we got that to that point, and it was funny because some of them were telling them like, hey, I'm gonna ask about this thing, abortion, or this thing on race, or this thing on immigration, and I was like, I'm gonna talk to them about religion.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm gonna
Because
talk.
you didn't have.
Yeah, I really didn't disagree with them
Yeah.
on those things.
Yeah.
So
Is that like the biggest point of disagreement between you and Charlie?
yeah, it's actually when I went up there, I told Charlie, I was like, I saw your debate or dialogue with Michael Knowles because Michael's Catholic.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, I saw that.
and he's Protestant. So I saw how they kind of went. I was like, wow, I
Who won that
watched
debate?
it. I don't think either of them did, to be
Yeah.
honest, dude.
You
Like,
think? Yeah.
because like, well, they were so like for me,
I had thought Charlie won.
you thought
When
Charlie
I
won.
listened, I thought,
Charlie's cool.
but I'm a Protestant, so
Yeah, yeah, it
you know,
makes
naturally.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense. You want to play. For me, that's why it's like I don't subscribe to either side. But
Right.
for me, even before I came to religion as an atheist for a long time, I was able to study the Bible from a historical perspective before I studied it from a dogmatic perspective. And so when I heard Charlie be like, well, or not Charlie, when I heard Michael tell Charlie, he's like, yeah, well, Charlie, believes this, and he's basically adopting some dogmas from Catholicism and all this
Mm.
stuff. He's like, he has this, but we have 2,000 years of history. I was like, yeah, but you didn't elaborate on those 2,000 years of history, man. Like, what all did you guys do? What all happened? And there was a lot of things, dude. It's like, for me, I understood, like, the church in the early church, it was not what they tried to paint it as. Like, oh, this one church was unanimous and they all agreed on these things. So I was like, no. I was like, some of the church fathers they refer to for some teachings, they disagreed on a bunch of things. And so I was able to pinpoint the fact that they weren't I was able to pinpoint the fact that they weren't telling the whole truth. And so I was like, either they're a little bit
Right.
naive on it, or they're just kind of being disingenuous.
So you get up there, and somehow you end up first in line. I had seen pieces of
yeah.
the conversation,
Yeah.
clips.
Yeah.
How long was the conversation?
It was like it was like 9 minutes and 30 seconds, I think.
It was almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, almost 10
shoot.
minutes.
I didn't
Yeah,
realize it was that
something
long.
like
I mean, I've seen 30 seconds of it.
Yeah.
I seen the clip where he says,
Was because he went off and ranted a little bit about Mormons and how great Mormons were.
yeah,
in the beginning.
you said, what? What did you say? More?
So I said, the basis of what I was trying to get to is that Mormonism is more theologically correct than Protestantism.
And Charlie responded, and he said, first of all, I love Mormons.
Yeah.
And then everyone cheered.
Yeah,
Right?
everyone
Yeah.
cheered. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was great, dude. And
And
I
for you,
loved
it was
that.
a cool moment.
It was because, you know, there was a lot of people that were LDS that were there, obviously, and one of the biggest things that we wanted to hear, like, about Charlie was that what did he think about Mormons? Because I told him is when I went up there was that you got a lot of these podcasters that will talk about Mormonism with other people and not have someone who's intellectually knowledgeable within the faith there to correct any misconceived notions or something.
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
Tell me
It's
more
pretty
about the
cool.
conversation, some of the stuff that we didn't see on video.
Yeah. So from what I can remember, I asked him about that, and I guess the first actually words articulated to confront the question or the statement I made was, he asked me about okay, what's the historical evidence of the Nephites or the Lamanites and stuff like that? What archaeological evidence do we have for that?
So when you and Charlie finished your conversation, did you feel like it was pretty respectful through and through?
It was. I think it was. And obviously, I think there was passion on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there was some things that he wasn't truthful with, or he just might have been ignorant to it. Like I said, the reason why I chose the topic was because watching his debate with Parker on the morality.
Jubilee?
Yeah, Jubilee, the Jubilee episode of The Surrounded. Watching that episode with him and Parker pressing him on the morality of things that happened in the Bible, I could tell Charlie was not really as articulate when it came to religion. Of course, this thing's politics, so I mean, I could understand that.
Well, I mean, kind of. I think it's religion as much as politics. Of course, he's not technically a politician, but he is, right? And
Yeah,
so
advocate, yeah.
yeah, right. He's a political speaker.
Yeah.
And I think that as much as he talks about politics, he talks about his faith. Is that theology? Not necessarily, but or history? Not necessarily. But as far as being bold about his faith, I hear that from him as much as I hear anything else.
Yeah. And I think that's
which
good.
is one of the things I mean, most respect about Charlie.
I think a lot of people respected the fact that he lived his faith to the end.
Unbelievably boldly.
Unbelievably boldly. And I love that for him. And I think one of the things is that I had disagreements with is that he believed that his faith could be proven objectively, at least his perspective of Christianity, right? He believed could be articulated or proven objectively. And my thing is that coming from an atheist background, because I was an atheist for a good chunk of my life. And I mean, I was always a deep philosophical thinking kid. And so from like me and my brother, one of my brothers, we were from like 14, just like in 12, we were just like, we don't believe in God. Like, it's just kind of like, we saw the fear
Are your
mongering.
family religious at all?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You were adopted?
Growing up, they were. My dad was raised Catholic. My mom's Pentecostal. But my brothers, I got another brother who's Catholic. Yeah. And so like we were around religion, but we just saw the bad side of it. Like we saw the fear mongering side of religion.
Yeah. We'll dive more into that religion aspect and your beliefs and your kind of history and story and testimony as to falling into religion and changing your stance on that, which is amazing, by the way. Let's circle back to September 10th. I'm waiting for the plane. Or whatever that is. Not a plane. That's a car.
That's a motorcycle.
Someone's ripping it.
Going nuts, bro.
On September 10th, you're there and you finish your conversation.
Mm-hmm.
How did it end?
Good. We basically found common ground. I said, okay, well, we're going to disagree on these things, but there's things that we can agree on. Jesus is King. Jesus is Lord. He's our Savior. All these things.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he goes off to basically just bear his testimony and say those same things and stuff too. And then I grab my bag and try to walk out, but I couldn't walk out because it was so crowded and dense there. So I kind of just like stopped and turned around, started talking to a Deseret news girl, and heard that shot pop off. And I was like looking around, like, what the frick was that? And then I saw Charlie. And for
How
a
close were
second,
you?
I was like maybe 15, 20 feet away. And I could tell I was in shock because, one, I saw all the blood. And two, I was like, what just happened? And I knew I was in shock because I didn't immediately get down. I was like looking around. And when I saw Charlie fall, I was like, holy cow.
I did not see him fall. Did he fall out of his chair?
Yeah. So when he got hit, he did this thing where
I saw his
arms,
hands.
his body stiffened up.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was leaning over and he fell out of his chair.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was, oh my, yeah, it was bad, dude.
So you handed the mic over.
Mm-hmm.
You said, thanks.
Yeah, I just told him thanks. I was like, I appreciate the conversation. It was a cool guy.
You hand the mic over to
the next
Hunter.
kid. Hunter.
What's his name?
Yeah, Hunter.
How many seconds later?
It was about 40 to a minute.
Under a minute.
Under a minute.
You hand the mic over. He's saying some words. You turn around. You say something to a lady, and you hear a gunshot.
Yep.
You turn and look. Charlie's right behind you. Did you know it was a gunshot?
At first, I didn't. I was actually confused because I'm not the only one that said this. People were kind of criticizing it, but it did sound like a big firecracker, maybe.
Mm.
But it was he shot from a distance, so it wasn't.
Did you look around? Did you look right at Charlie when you heard it?
So I looked at Charlie, and saw all that happen because I saw him kind of lean back and then saw it all coming out. Yeah. And then he fell over, and it's still stuck in my head. I haven't been able. That's what caused me not to sleep for the past couple of days. But, I was kind of in shock, so I started looking around, and I started scanning the roofs and stuff like that, and I couldn't see anything. And then that's when people started yelling get down, or whatever. So I jumped on top of some other people after that.
So,
yeah. Not a pretty scene.
So you had heard the shot.
Mm-hmm.
You turn around. You see Charlie. You didn't see the blood go out of his neck. You just look at Charlie and you just see blood gushing out of his neck.
Gushing like a waterfall blood, just a ton.
And did you look away? You watched
Yeah,
him?
yeah, I looked away. I saw him starting to fall out of his chair, and then I turned around and I jumped on top of someone else and was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get down real quick. Then I didn't hear a gunshot after.
Did you think Charlie was dead right there?
Oh, 100%.
So in your mind,
this is what made me kind of irritated, was the fact that everyone's like, oh, I hope he can survive. I hope he pushes through.
Well, from my perspective, we saw a video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting at work. I see notifications on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it. Charlie Kirk shot in Utah at a rally. I look at my phone. I watch the video, the far video, not the close one.
Oh,
so you
okay.
see him get hit, and it's like, oh, shoot. And it looked like, depending on where he was hit, he may have a chance here. It looks like it hit him in the neck, but maybe it grazed him.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing news that he is stabilized, that was being reported everywhere. Charlie Kirk is stabilized. They
Oh.
stabilized him.
Yeah.
Charlie
In
Kirk
a
has a
coffin,
pulse.
maybe.
Maybe 45 minutes later, Charlie Kirk has a pulse. We hear Charlie's at the hospital. He has a pulse. And then I see the video, the close up. Was he alive when he hit the ground?
No way. And come to find out, like whenever he was hit and he did that whole motion where his body
That's
stiffened up,
trauma, brain trauma.
yeah, brain trauma. Yeah, because one, it's supposedly like that bullet would have severed his spinal cord, and so like one that he would have been unconscious, and then two, like he wouldn't have felt a thing, like he wouldn't have felt a thing. I think that's one of the most common things that people were saying is that in the medical field is that, yeah,
It was instant.
this is
Boom.
referred to as this or whatever, and it would have been like that. So, and it looked like it too, man. It looked like he was not.
What did you feel? What did you feel in that moment of looking and seeing Charlie dead?
Dude,
Everyone screaming.
I couldn't feel anything because I was surrounded surrounded around a bunch of people that were just freaking out.
What did it sound like?
People screaming, "Get down, get down." There were some people praising what happened. Some people up top that were like, "Oh, good shot." Dude, it was
You
sick.
heard people saying "good shot."
There were people that said good shot, bro.
Was there groups saying this?
I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was a group. I just heard it.
You heard someone say "good shot."
Yeah.
How disgusting! How completely and utterly disgusting. No matter who that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you jumped on someone.
Yeah, just on top of like there was just everyone just
Pile
kind of
of
got
people and
down.
you
Yeah,
lay down
Yeah,
and-
just got down. Yeah, that's
happened
the
next?
best thing you did. After like I don't know, maybe 30, 40 seconds, I realized that like, hey, I can like jump over this little gate thing that they had and jump down and just kind of run out of there. So that's what I did and just
You ran. You just
I
jumped
was
something and
so-
ran.
Yeah, and
Right
just,
away?
like, yeah,
You laid down and
Well,
got up and ran.
laid down for like I said for like maybe 20, 30 seconds, then just got up.
Was
saw
the
that
fear
people
that
were
this
going-
was a mass shooting event, that he wasn't the last
Well,
one?
I didn't hear any more gunshots, so I knew like that's why I felt kind of comfortable getting up and running. But
Yeah. You could tell at this point this was a assassination on Charlie, and that was it.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And then when there was that old kook that started screaming, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me," or whatever, it's just that guy's apparently just I don't know,
Just a weirdo.
just a weirdo. Something's wrong with him.
Something's wrong with a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think him doing that allowed the shooter to get away because
They were focused on this
there
man.
was so little security, so little officers. It took whoever was there to detain that guy. And meanwhile, this guy's running across the rooftop,
Mm-hmm.
getting away.
Yeah. Tell me about the rest of that day. Where'd you go?
We hung around for a while. I had to give a
What do you mean
statement.
you hung around?
Well, I was like hugging people that were just standing outside. They were trying to see,
Crying?
yeah, crying. I wasn't crying. I really didn't have any emotion during the time because I didn't know what I wasn't processing what just freaking happened. And so I was just kind of standing there hugging some people that were really struggling with what just happened. And then some cops came up to us and were like, we're going to need some statements. I need you guys to go in this building. And so I talked to a couple cops for a couple days, actually. So just about what happened,
Mhm.
what I heard, who I've talked to. Obviously, like in this event, it's like, and the thing is, dude, it's like I was already hearing a lot of rhetoric that
Mhm.
was like cruel and
Yeah.
mean leading up to before he even showed up. Charlie's this, Charlie's that. He's, a bad guy. He's a Nazi. He's a child killer advocate.
I think that I hear often as in the last 4 or 5 days, the left killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
I would say so. I mean, based off of what came out, it was a progressive left. I mean, I got some people that are left that are not crazy. Like there's people like Bill Maher still out there that are like Democrats, but they're not radical, right?
Sure.
But So,
The reason I question if that's fair is because I think trying to throw everyone into one category based off of who you vote for or your beliefs is tough, because I have friends on the right, I have great friends on the left,
I do too.
and it's they're not in that basket. They're not in
Mhm.
that basket of people who are mocking Charlie Kirk's death or
True.
celebrating it. They're not in that basket of anyone who would ever think of doing that. To me, do I think this was a MAGA boy who decided to shoot Charlie Kirk? Evidence shows no.
Yeah.
We're finding out more and more what that looks like, but this was a mentally ill kid who had an idea and he went and shot Charlie. The argument on the left, the argument on the right that we're seeing is it's the rhetoric. It is
It is the rhetoric, though.
yeah.
It's the words. It's like the more and more you call someone a Nazi or a child killer advocate or
Mhm.
something like that, you're gonna
Yeah.
people that are mentally ill are gonna be like, or speaking on transgenderism, I mean, like we just found out, like the shooters like had a transgender boyfriend,
Mhm.
and so like you can't tell me there's no ideological,
Yeah.
stuff happening there where,
It's tough for me because as a Christian, I see the issues with these things. I can see that there is a common denominator lately of shooters.
mm-hmm.
And it's tough because I practice, and I do a bad job, but I practice leading with love, trying to lead in a way that I love everyone. And so people might say, hey, this transgender, whoever is, all of them are mentally sick and this and that. And I'm not saying if that's right or wrong, but I know that my faith tells me I love them. I
Yeah.
love everyone. And I think that that's a message that I would have to the right, is because there's a line of shooters that are transgender, we can't put them all in a basket either.
Yeah.
We can't put them all into that basket either.
True.
And because there are a lot of people on the left, who are celebrating Charlie's death, we can't put them all in that basket. Because there are a lot of people on the left who have participated in that rhetoric of Charlie is harmful and he is violent. He is harming people I know. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but what harm though? Intellectual harm because he's
Mhm.
challenging your views?
Well, I think that the argument that is made is that, first of all, here's the thing about Charlie. The right has this narrative, and tell me what you think of this.
Mm-hmm.
The right has this narrative that he was killed because he was a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The other narrative is he was killed because he is a conservative. That's not true either. The truth is, otherwise kill me, right?
Yeah.
Kill me for being a Christian. I can tell you, I can give you a long list of conservatives.
Yeah.
They're not dead.
Yeah.
The reason Charlie Kirk was killed is because he was a Christian conservative who was effective.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he was killed is it's not because he was a Christian. It's because he was a loud Christian.
Mm-hmm.
He was a unique Christian. He was a proud Christian. And he was an effective Christian.
Yeah.
It's not because he was a conservative. It's because he was one who was effective. He was not just a guy sitting under a tent debating college students. He very arguably got Donald Trump elected.
Mm-hmm.
He is extremely effective.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done a lot through his words. And so I hear an argument from the right, which is, so all he's doing is sitting down and talking. Now, I think that should be celebrated.
Yeah.
This is free speech. This is what it's all about. And he is so peaceful. He's so polite. That's what I see.
I saw a video of, there was a time where he was at a campus where this girl hid his hat off of his head.
And he sat there.
And he sat there, and what did he tell his security? Don't touch her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't touch her.
Yeah.
They'll see what she's like.
Yeah.
And that's exposes that portion, not necessarily the entire left, I'll say that, but that will expose the individuals that are like that. And it'll bring to light those type of individuals that people need to be aware of. They're not really for freedom of speech. They're all about, hey, this is how I feel. Like, are they taking my feelings into account?
Absolutely. I seen this, and this was something running through my head before I saw this video, but Erica Kirk, Charlie's wife,
Mm-hmm.
she said, you have no idea what you unleashed. You have no idea what you created.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the goal, and again, I'm not going to use the words when the left tried to kill him, because I don't think it was the left who. I don't think.
I think that's dangerous.
I don't want to. I don't want to put them all in a basket, right?
I think that's dangerous rhetoric too, because
I
that's
do,
drawing division.
exactly.
It's drawing division.
Absolutely, saying, oh, the left killed him.
So I take back what I said. Maybe I might have prematurely said something that I don't even agree with myself.
But I agree. I agree with that stance. Is we have to be careful on our end about our rhetoric.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there is a lot of people responsible for this. I believe that too.
Mm-hmm.
What was I saying right before I said that?
You were talking about rhetoric. Is it? Yeah, we were just expanding on rhetoric.
I was talking about Erica's
Oh, Erica,
speech.
yeah, her
So
speech, yeah.
I said when she said, and I've heard it around, how many Charlie Kirks we just created.
Mm.
I feel it in myself. Like I was feeling that before she said that. Of this Charlie Kirk's death, Charlie Kirk's assassination will be the ultimate backfire. The ultimate backfire. Because if a group of people were trying to silence Charlie's voice, if a group of people were trying to put fear into Christians or conservatives to speak out, they did the absolute opposite.
Oh yeah,
Absolute opposite.
100%.
Maybe fear, maybe not the opposite of fear, but if they were trying to silence them, they did the opposite.
Definitely not.
And when I say I feel that in myself, I feel an absolute obligation. An obligation I should have felt no matter what. But an absolute motivation, an energy to proclaim my faith boldly and loudly and speak the truth and be absolutely fearless of it ever since September 10th. I feel just this absolute fire to be louder and be insistent on making sure this has the absolute opposite effect that anyone in that group could hope for.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
I feel that. Well, I mean, I felt that yesterday at the congressman's house, because there was a group of us that were all there that were at the event, and all of them were like, we're in a group chat now, and we're all wanting to get into like a political atmospheres that similarly to what he was in, and advocate and set up tables and debate people like on the corners and stuff like that.
Do it.
Yeah, because like this is only it's like Erica said, it's lit a fire. And it's not a fire where these were scared. It's like, okay, you thought that one person was the end all be all?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how you like this coming.
It's hard to know what to do. It's hard to know as a Christian, how do we respond? Charlie said this thing. He said it was before he goes into his rallies, his prove me wrongs.
Yep.
I think he was talking to Tucker. No. He was talking to George Janko.
Oh yeah. Oh George, love George.
Love George. He said,
Real good Christian guy too.
yes,
Yeah.
he's doing something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's making a difference.
Is that what he's? Oh yeah, he's
That's what I mean.
definitely he's definitely making
yeah,
a difference.
He's
Yeah.
doing something. He told him, my prayer before I go do this every time is, before I go to these debates every time is, God, use me for your will. That's so powerful. It's so simple, but it's so powerful.
It is powerful because I don't know why I felt the urge like I have to talk to Charlie about religion.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, I was chosen to be the first person to speak to him.
Yeah.
Everyone else behind me was a liberal.
That's how I felt.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost. At least the 4 behind me were. Yeah.
That's how I felt like the moment I saw he was shot, before I even knew for sure he was dead. Those words, God, use me for your will, like it's like stuck with me.
Mhm.
It's okay, if now is a time to make a stand, if now is our time, God, use me for your will. What do you want of me? And I've just been like sitting on that.
That's crazy, right? To think
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Charlie's been so effective leading up this whole past year. Maybe God realized like, okay, Charlie, you laid the foundation. I need this to explode now. I need you to give your last testimony,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to see with me what you created and what I hoped you create. Because I like Erica said, I don't think people are ready for the amount of advocates for free speech and public discourse are going to come out of this.
I got here to the campus last night, and I traveled 3,000 miles to be here,
Yeah.
or 2,000. I don't know.
I think it was 2,000,
Yeah,
yeah.
2,000
Around
miles.
2,000, yeah.
And I got here, I had no idea what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I didn't know the school was closed down. I mean, you can assume, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
I just came here. I just got
Mhm.
dropped off in my Uber, and I had my backpack, and I walked out.
Yeah.
And I pulled up to this side of the campus. Not a car, not a sound, not a student, not a teacher,
Yeah.
nothing. It was quiet. And I walked all around, and I walked to the backside.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to see a few people. And at that grass opening there where you can see kind of where it happened,
Yeah, right.
there
I
was
know
a
what you're talking
pile
about.
of people with American flags, holding them up. People sitting down in the grass with their arms around each other, just looking at it. They had brought flowers and they had set them there. People were crying, just holding each other, crying. And I walked through all of them. It was the weirdest experience ever, in an amazing way. It was solemn, it was quiet, and it was like, I don't know how to explain. I don't know how the word love fits into that atmosphere, but it was there. It was like I walked through it, and everyone who looked at me had red eyes, and they smiled. And we all smiled at each other, and everyone was hugging each other and just crying. No one was saying a word.
Yeah.
I walked to the road, and that was where the memorial was.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that pile, and I'll play a video of it, but just flowers everywhere and pictures of Charlie, and there's cars driving by, and almost every single car had something written on the side of it. Jesus saves. Rest in peace, Charlie. You're with your Savior. Stuff like that. Just these. There was hundreds of people over there. Hundreds. That's not including everyone who's come and gone throughout the day. At that moment, just the random hour I came by, hundreds holding up crosses, on their knees praying, sobbing, and no one saying a word. It was quiet. You could hear people sniffling, and people were hugging each other. It was something I've never, ever seen before. But it was so beautiful.
Yeah. I think people were realizing the fact that one, you can you have that love there when it's like whenever you're at your lowest
Mm-hmm.
and someone shows up for you and there's crying and all that stuff, but you know that person's there. You know there's love there. Same things like when we show
But
up.
he knew him. None of
Well,
these people have
no
ever
one
met
knew
them, and they
him.
loved him.
No one knew him personally. I didn't know him personally.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess I met him for like a few seconds, but
Right.
he didn't really know who I was.
Yeah.
But what resonates with people is that Charlie was our voice. Charlie spoke for a lot of people, and people resonated with him.
Mm.
To a degree, he was a mini, not to put him on par with Jesus or anything like that, but like he was a mini messenger, a mini savior to a degree for people to wake up and come to one, Christ, and two, a realization of the world and what's happening, and that if we don't change and we don't speak up, we're gonna lose our freedoms.
Mm-hmm. And I feel more than ever, like we just talked about, just this fire, just having this drive to go do something about it and to open my mouth and say something. Why do people love him so much? Why are there people who just flew 2,000 miles here, and I'm not the only one?
Yeah.
I saw a guy when I was walking up here to set up earlier. Said he was from, I think he said he was from like Maine. It was up there.
Yeah.
It was somewhere over there, and he flew here just to go put flowers by it, his picture over there. Why do people feel this way for Charlie? People die all the time. Why are people so, and why does it feel different for me too? Like, there's something about this. I don't know if it's just watching, as being that I watched it, or being that I heard his voice so long and it's quiet. Why is it so impactful?
It's like what you said earlier, because he was so effective, because he was able to reach people,
Mm-hmm.
and because he was able to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of us can look internally and be like, okay, I probably wouldn't have handled it the way Charlie did,
Mm-hmm.
but Charlie did do it, and he was effective at it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we feel that way? We don't know if there's going to be an effective person that comes close to what even Charlie did.
Right. There is no other Charlie.
There is no other Charlie. There was only one Charlie.
Yeah. After, on that day, you ended up going home?
Yeah, fortunately for me, I had some friends that would not let me be alone. So
They what?
They wouldn't let me be
Yeah,
alone by
good.
myself. So I had a couple friends where
How were you
They
feeling?
came as-
So you said at first you were emotionless. The emotions kicked in at some point.
yeah, well, they usually would happen whenever I would like be going to bed because
Yeah.
like it's just like a replay. It was a replay
Ugh.
of like what would happen.
You
And
live with
so-
that still? Or 5 days later?
I'm doing a little bit better. But you know, I've been seeing my therapist and stuff like that, and I think there was a doctor that was at that Congressman Mike's place the other day.
Yeah.
And, he specifically he specializes in these trauma aspects of people's lives and where they see traumatic events and stuff like so. He gave us a bunch of tips on like what to do
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that and how to like deal with the
Yeah.
replaying memories and stuff like that of like what happened.
Right.
And it's been effective. It's like for a long time, for like the next 2 days, I don't think I really had an appetite. I had to kind of inform my boss too. That,
Ugh.
like I was like, yo, by the way, I'm just kind of like I'm also being bombarded with people calling me from different agencies and stuff like that, asking me questions and stuff. So, and not only that, I was like, frick, I don't have my car, I don't have anything. So it's like, it's
Mhm.
just like a lot of stress of a bunch of
Ugh.
stuff being added on top of it. So it's
You got a
like,
few days off of school?
yeah. Well, luckily I didn't go
Oh,
to
no, you don't
school.
go to school
Yeah,
here.
I don't go to school
Wait,
here.
how come your backpack's here?
Oh, because I carry
from that day,
I
you
carry
just-
I
oh.
carry a backpack with all my folders and stuff for work, and I got like this big. I put my computer in there, and
You didn't even get time off of school, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically not, no. Basically not, but yeah, So it was just like, oh no, dude, like even now, like I call talking to you and stuff, I think about it, I get these little flashes, um, but I don't know what my brain's trying to do. I don't know how it's trying to process it because
Have
I
you
don't
talked to anyone other than at, what was his name? His house?
Mike.
Yeah, Mike's house.
I
Other
have
than there,
I
have
have a
you?
therapist I go
Good.
to. So his name's Parker. He's awesome. He's with Tangible Therapy here in Orem.
Yeah.
Amazing people, and they're offering actually free like therapy sessions for people that were at this event, and stuff like that
Yeah.
because of how traumatic it was. But even me, he from what he's told me is just my brain's really trying to protect myself from what I saw.
Mm.
So like it's like your brain's in this state of like you don't want to believe it,
Yeah.
so no emotions are coming out. But then I'll find myself at night getting anxious, getting sad, kind of tearing up a little bit.
Was there a moment of just crying? Like,
Not yet, not just cry. I probably it's gonna come. When I lost a buddy named Christian a while back. He had a heart attack, and he was a buddy from high school, and it didn't even hit me till like weeks.
Mm.
I think no, I think it was like a couple months later where I was like, dang,
Yeah.
yeah, where I actually broke down. And
When
yeah,
you focused on the moment with Charlie,
yeah.
that particular conversation with him, is there anything else that you would say you want to share directly related to that conversation?
Yeah. So I mean, I like the fact that we got to talking a little bit about just I guess because I mentioned to him that like I don't believe the Bible, or even ODS people don't believe the Bible is inerrant, and as a Protestant, a lot of Protestants do. They the Bible's without error. It's the Word of God. And so he brought up a bunch of argumentations for like the historical validity of the stories within the Bible in order to like authenticate it. So like he quoted for First Corinthians, I believe, where Paul says, like he had the 500 witnesses. On
Mm-hmm.
top of that, we had the empty tomb. Well, on top of that, we have all this archaeological
And these are his
evidence.
objective arguments that
Yes,
you
that he was presenting to me
right.
as absolute truth.
Right.
And I I love it. I love how bold he was about it.
But
I
but
love that
but
he
do you think that there's anything absolute?
no. I don't think about any of
Do
the
you think we
claims.
need anything absolute?
I think when it comes to religion, there's no absolute. I think it's all subjective. And to be fair, I don't think that's deviates from what my faith teaches either, because even our own prophets that we subscribe to, even they ask us when they give us a message, hey, go and pray and ask Heavenly Father, confirm that these things that we said are true.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then confront it. Confront it with your bishop, confront it with someone else. But I have that perspective that it's all subjective, because I wouldn't if it was all objective.
Then there wouldn't be faith.
Yeah, it wouldn't be faith. And at the same time, but even if it was like I guess you could say, an objective stance based off of archaeology or something, or a story that someone told, I don't know how that's objective, but this is kind of what he was alluding to. I don't see if that's true, why there's any division. Why isn't if it's that true, why aren't we all Protestant? Why aren't we all Christian?
If it's objective.
If
right.
it's objective.
So I had a conversation with someone recently, I think multiple times, about faith and the separation between what do I know and then what do I believe? Like, what do I just have faith? Like, where's that gap? So like for me, if my goal is to believe in Jesus 100%, 100%, not 99, not 95, not 60, 100% faith in God. Belief is the word I'll use. What percent of that belief is based off of historical evidence, objective truth, or subjective truth? And then what percent of that is based off of just faith? Because you can't have 100% faith. You can't have 100% objective truth. And the example I used, and I don't mean you can't have 100% faith. I mean, our faith, like a lot
There
of
has
my
to be a
faith.
foundation to why you have faith in
Yes,
it. Right?
exactly. It's
Yeah.
not just mom told me this story when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Some of that faith comes from my personal experiences, which is
Mhm.
some of the subjective truths that
Yeah.
you were talking about. Right?
Mhm.
Kind of.
Yeah. No, that's exactly true.
Another thing would be the and you can say they're not objective. I understand that perspective, but the historical evidence that we do have, whether that's objective evidence or just strong evidence, like the
Yeah.
tomb being empty, like the disciples and how they were martyred, right?
Yeah.
And there are so many different truths that we can hold on to say, I believe this, and then the rest to get to that 100% is faith.
Yeah.
The example I used for that was, I was kind of having a little bit, I was having a different perspective of someone, a little bit of a debate where it's like we're both in line,
Yeah.
like 99%, but then we're both going off a little bit.
Yeah.
And what I had said was, their argument with me was, I believe in Jesus 99% because you never know for sure. I said, well, the thing is yes, we don't. You can say that you don't know for sure, but I say I know 100%, and that's because my faith fills the gap.
Yes.
My faith fills that 1%. And so the example I would use is, let's say if someone called me right now and said, "Hey, Weston, your brother just." What's a horrible thing that you can think your brother would never do? But someone would.
Selling drugs. Your
Okay,
brother's
perfect.
caught
Okay,
selling drugs.
So someone calls me and says, "Hey, your brother was just caught selling meth."
yeah.
I would say, "No, he's not." So, like, if the argument was he was selling drugs this morning, right? So your brother's selling drugs this morning. I saw him. I have faith in my brother's character that he wasn't doing that because I know my brother, because I know him. Do I know for sure? No, but I know for sure, right?
Yeah.
But the only way I could objectively know that is if I was with my brother this morning, and so I know he was not out selling drugs. Oh, I was with him this morning. So there's no faith there anymore.
Yeah.
Because I just know I don't have to have faith. But the fact that I wasn't with my brother this morning, I still 100% know he wasn't selling drugs, and that comes from my faith.
Yeah.
Is that a terrible example?
No, I think that's a good example.
I think I just screamed to the microphone.
Well, I think it's a good example still, because like my thing is that yes, and you talk about how like you understanding his character and all that stuff kind of fills in that gap. I'm like, why you don't believe that he did that, which is perfect. I would say faithfully, I would be the same way.
Right.
There's no way God would do that, or there's no way this person would do that. The issue comes is like, okay, so how do I prove that to someone who doesn't know my brother? Because that's
You bet.
Yeah.
What a question.
Yeah.
What a question. Holy smokes.
And that's the issue when it comes to like, okay,
It's like a cop comes up to you. Listen, no, it wasn't my brother.
yeah,
I don't know that.
I don't
How
know
do
your
I
brother.
convince you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like, and that's the thing with Charlie that I had kind of issue with is that, okay, you have supposedly these 500 witnesses. Josephus is a historian. Specifically, he has a book that he refers to as, or that he talks about the antiquity of the Jews. If this monumental thing happened in history, where are their testimonies? Or where, not only that, where's Josephus writing about this?
And to be clear, you believe this stuff happened. You're just saying it's
Yes.
not objective.
I'm just trying to point it out that it's not objective,
Right.
but you can, like we said, I can believe it's true
Right.
because of me understanding the
Right.
character of God and what happens. And I also just understand, like, listen, if there's opposition against a group of people, winners write history, man.
If
So-
someone called me and said your brother's selling drugs, I'd laugh and say no, he's not.
Yeah.
But objectively, I don't know that objectively, but I
Yeah.
just know.
Exactly.
That's your stance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
You like how I just compared believing in the Lord and selling
That's-
drugs?
That's the way, I know. It's crazy,
That-
right?
that a little hard.
Sometimes it takes a crazy analogy to get people to understand.
Honestly,
like,
that's probably the worst analogy I come up with. But, hey,
no,
listen,
it's
man.
like, it's weird though, because like I had to do the same analogy thing with.
Get a little bit closer to your mic.
My bad.
If
Sorry.
you want to pull it back, that's great.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, let me do this real
Get
quick.
a little comfortable. Yep.
So, all right, check one.
Test. We're good.
All right, sweet,
We're great.
awesome.
Okay.
So-
Where were we?
Yeah. So,
Wait, is it live?
I think yeah, it says live. It's good. Yeah, they're red.
Live. All right, we're
They're red. So basically, I was talking about when it comes to these things and this inerrancy of the Bible thing that I have, it's first off, it's not discounting the Bible, but what we want to put together is the fact that we know that men wrote these. Men aren't infallible. God is infallible. So people are automatically assuming, oh, well, these guys are inspired like that. So God's not going to allow his word to be corrupt. I was like, yes, but listen, God can be the greatest conceivable communicator, but we as humans are dumb. We can,
Do you think that they are corrupt? Like
Well-
there's slightly inaccurate, you got a name wrong, but then there's corrupt.
so it all dives down to history. If we have something that says, for instance, let's go to the birth narratives of Jesus, right?
Yep.
Luke and Matthew. All right, so I can't remember exactly precisely which one says what, but one of the others says that once Jesus was born, in order to escape persecution from Herod, that was unaliving all newborns and all that stuff, that they fled immediately to Egypt and they waited until he unalived. But then you have Luke or Matthew, whichever one, I forget because I'm probably getting them mixed up. But
Okay.
that says, well, after the birth narrative, it says that afterwards, to follow the law, the Levitical law of Jews, that Mary would have to go to the temple 40-something days later to be cleansed. So how can that both be true if they both immediately happened after Jesus' birth? So you can't. And to be fair, Egypt's 250 miles away from where they were. So it's not like they could be like, yeah, we're going to go over here. No, we got to go get cleansed at the temple. I mean, that makes no logical sense. So which one happened? That's the question.
Right.
We don't know. We weren't there. And that's why we say like it can't be perfect, but that's not saying there's not meaning behind the gospel's message.
But how does that affect your religion? Like knowing that there's of course inaccuracies. We know this because two different books of the Bible say two different things. They can't both be 100% accurate.
Yeah.
If they both say something different, right?
Yeah.
How does that affect your religion?
It doesn't. What it allows me to do actually is put more trust in God. God, let me read my scriptures and let me pray that you will deliver whatever message out of these scriptures that you need me to hear. And that's what I'm using the scriptures for. Because it's not like every day we're reading the scriptures. We're like, all right, let's see what unhistorical thing we can find today.
Yep.
No. Like I do it for fun. I like to understand the context of scripture because, like, of course, if there's like a parable that or something or a story that a gospel is trying to teach, I would like to understand the context of their time period, not a modernism 2,000 years later. Like, let me reinterpret what this probably means. But no, what is John trying to say that why Mary can't touch Jesus at his resurrection?
Right.
I mean, if I look at the Levitical law, I understand that Jesus hasn't ascended into heaven yet. He's a sacrifice. He still has to present himself to the Father on the other side of the veil, like the high priest did in the Old Testament.
You said that you were an atheist.
Yeah.
At what point did you become a Christian?
I was an atheist for a long time. It was more agnostic atheist because I didn't believe for a while that God existed until I started to dive into a lot of studies of astrophysics, biology, psychology, and stuff like that were all kind of intertwined, obviously, with religious faith. And so I studied all this for a number of years. But I came to a conclusion where there's so much gray area in what we can observe, and I don't think this can be random. I look around, right? The fact that the complexity of a human life or a cell and stuff like that is as complex as it is, I don't believe that that's random. I heard an analogy from Stephen Meyer, and he actually says, like, when you look at the Mona Lisa, you don't look at the Mona Lisa and be like, yeah, that's just no intelligence was involved in that. That's just how it was. And so I thought it was quite funny that when I heard that people were like, no, dude, like, all this is a product of chance, random. I was like,
Right.
I don't believe that.
I think that's kind of where my faith. When someone asks me about my faith, I have friends who are atheist. I have friends who are agnostic, and I have Christian friends.
Yeah.
And when people ask me about my faith, it always starts there, exactly where you said.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with, first and foremost, before I even start talking about Christianity, I believe we are created. First and foremost. That to me is objective. You can argue with that if you want, but it's hard for me to ever believe that I am sitting here on Earth having a conversation with my mouth that can create sound, and you're listening through ears that can hear, and we have brains that can understand each other and communicate and think and process, and we can walk down the stairs with the perfect gravity and blah 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 blah. Maybe I'm too dumb to be an atheist. Maybe I'm too dumb to understand that this could be an accident. But the way I'd heard it said before is, I wish I had enough faith to be an atheist. The atheist has more faith than I could ever have, because to believe this is an accident
Yeah. Or random.
or random,
Yeah.
and I mean, look around, dude. And I was sitting on the beach with my friend, who I love her to death. She is agnostic, I think is how they would describe themselves. Her and her husband, some of my best friends.
Yeah.
And I said, I was talking about worship. She asked me why I started going to what I like about the church I go to.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I like the worship. And she says, why? She's like, what do you like about the worship? And I said, or about worship, not the worship, but what do you like
Yeah.
about worship? And I said, look around. And it was like this. We were on the beach, and it was beautiful. And I would point to exactly what we're looking at now. I would point to these mountains and the sky, and I would say, there is a lot of bad in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
There's stuff that's hard. There's stuff that's difficult. But whoever this God is, he is nothing short of beautiful. And it's really hard to look at the mountains that I'm looking at now and the lake and ever be able to argue with that he is a master, that he is a artist.
Yeah.
And we talked for a while, but I got into, and I worship him. That's where my faith starts, is we have a beautiful creator. When I dive into my Christianity, it's different. That still stands true. My
Mhm.
creator is beautiful. I love my creator. I worship him.
Mhm.
I am created, and I believe that 100%. And I believe that's objective.
Yeah.
But what makes me a Christian isn't believing that I'm created. What makes me a Christian is believing that we have a Savior named Jesus, and he
Mhm.
came and he died and he rose again. That's what makes me a Christian. And that's a
Yeah.
whole different conversation
yeah.
than, are you an atheist or agnostic? Because that's a whole different line too. But then from I believe we have a creator to believing we have a creator does not make you a Christian. Very, very far from
Yeah.
it. Very far from it, right?
Mhm.
At least you need that
Yeah, because
to be a Christian.
believing in just a creator and not necessarily subscribing to a Christian would classify you almost as a deist.
A
So-
deist.
A deist. So the concept that you believe that God exists, that there's a creator, but he's kind of like offhands,
Mm.
and you don't know his identity. You just know that he has to have been.
What is the difference between that and agnostic?
Well, agnostic is just the concept of, and I actually love agnostic people because they're very deep philosophically minded
Mhm.
people. But the difference between agnostic is just the acceptance of not knowing whether there is one or there isn't. Being
Mhm.
a deist is that you know there is one,
Mm.
but you just believe he's kind of like offhand.
Interesting. So I had thought that, that does make sense. I had thought that agnostic was, I'm not an atheist. I don't believe in nothing, but I don't know what to believe in.
Yeah.
That's how I had understood it. So that's more deist. And agnostic
No.
is there could be, there couldn't be.
So yeah. So to borderline, agnostic would just be the simple concept of, I don't know. That like it could be yes, it could be no. I don't know.
Mm.
Deist would put more simply would be like, yes, I believe there's one,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know the identity of that God.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a God.
Yeah.
That's what a deist is.
So how did you come from? First of all, there's no God. So you just explained you went from atheist to deist
Mm-hmm.
because this can't be random.
Yeah.
It's too beautiful. It's too amazing. It's
Exactly.
too perfect.
Yeah.
How did you go from we have a God, we have a creator, to I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe.
Yeah. That was a process. Yeah. The process of going from no God to, okay, there's something, to,
Mhm.
okay, now I'm Christian.
To he
Yeah,
loves me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So not only am I created, but this guy loves me,
Yeah.
and I can talk to him, and he's with
Exactly.
me.
Yeah. It was complex. Honestly, I've always felt like God was putting me in situations to find him. And I don't think it was by him touching me or having these warm fuzzy feelings or whatever, or him like speaking to me, but it was more, find me. I have all this that I've created. I am within this. Find me. That's why I studied astrophysics. This is why I studied biology. This is why I studied a lot of the stuff about human conscience, the human mind.
Because you had felt a call.
I felt like if there was answers, I would find them there.
You said you don't feel like God talked to you, but is that not God talking to you?
Honestly, I think it is. Because you know what? I think it's kind of funny. I think the laws that we observe that science adopts,
Yeah.
I feel like is God's language towards us. Because they wouldn't say like, yeah, these things cease to exist outside of conceivable like people or minds or
Yeah.
sentience.
Say that again for me, though.
So, wait, in regards to like
you said
that
the
the fact that the laws of the universe that
Uh-huh.
we are observing
yep.
is God's language to us.
Yes.
But the fact that scientists acknowledge this and use this as some sort of cop out for believing
Yeah.
in God would be, for me, more of an answer to why,
Mm-hmm.
well, to where like God's like, this is me.
Yep.
This is why I'm showing you I'm a God of order
That's
and love.
good. Yeah. I think that the thing is with science, and there's so many people, and maybe I'm just wrong, but it seems like there's so many people who atheists who
Yeah.
say, listen, you either believe in God or you believe in science. How come we can't believe in a God that's created science?
Yeah.
How come we can't believe in a God like, listen, I believe there was a day one. I also believe there was a day one.
Yeah.
How that day one looks is very different from yours, but I love what you said, that this science that they discover, that they fight to use to prove against the existence of God, is just creation of God.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know what? I think it's funny because there's a physicist by the name of Fred Hoyle. He was a staunch atheist who in the past who's since passed away, but he was very contentious against the Big Bang, and his biggest argument was that I don't believe something comes from nothing. And I was like, true, makes sense. But even within science, because like towards the end of his life, he kind of had a weird shift from like this whole atheist perspective to a more like of a theistic understanding of the universe as a product of design. And I thought this was pretty interesting because for me, even using science, we understand that like for all we know, energies always existed. Atoms, all this stuff has always existed. So the things that everything is formed or
You're good. Keep going.
yeah. So everything that we can observe right now that is created, that is material, is composed of energy. It's just reformed energy. But that energy itself is always been. So even within science, they understand that something can always be in order to be like a constant.
Which
thing
is
for us.
also, then it is used against, again, as an argument against God of how could he be forever? But we know that something had to have been forever.
Yeah.
Like the energy, like you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Like, was that just space? Was it space that lasted, that's been here forever? Was it time?
Yeah.
There was never nothing, right?
Yeah.
And
But-
that is proven scientifically, is it not?
Yeah. So there's no the word nothing is practically meaningless in science, especially when you're studying like physics and stuff like that, because there's always something that we've been able to observe. And so like energy is one of those things. And my thing is that if they think it's crazy for religious people to think an eternal sentient being has always been,
Mm-hmm.
why? Because you're quite open to the fact that energy's always existed,
Mm-hmm.
and it was neither created or destroyed, or neither can be created or destroyed. So like, what is the stretch with aligning a intellectual sentient mind behind the formation of how that energy is used?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Right.
always thought that was a hypocritical perspective or even argumentation from a atheist scientist that they would use like Richard Dawkins or something.
Did you go right into what is it? What's the word? Mormonism?
Yeah, from atheism?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
you went, I don't believe in God, almost directly into. Did you juggle some beliefs around, or did you just
Yes.
get invited to a Mormon church one day and said, "This is it"?
So what happened was is that throughout the years, especially when I kind of became more agnostic or more of a deist type thing, where I
Starting to believe in
started to
something.
believe that
Mm-hmm.
something was there. I had friends that went to a number of different churches and stuff. So I had a friend named Kylie that I went to her Methodist church and stuff, and super sweet people. I loved them. They were super cool. I had another friend named Clayton he went to a non-denominational church back home in Longview where I lived or where I was raised in Texas. And once again, super good people, loved them. And I got in this process of just like looking into the belief structures of these churches. And I did that for a year or two. But I'd never really looked into the ODS church because no one really classified them as Christians. As Christians.
You consider yourself a Christian.
I do. I mean, I just look at the historical context of
It's funny
what's it mean to be a Christian.
being here just in the last, what, 24 hours? What time?
Mhm.
It's probably exactly 24 hours, close to that, is when I got off my plane. You are the third Mormon I've met, and I don't know that I've ever talked to a Mormon about their faith or
Yeah.
have known anyone who's a Mormon that, that again, that I would have known. One of them was my Uber driver, and
Nice.
the other one was it was a lady walking through Walmart who was talking about it with someone else, and
Yeah.
it's very common here, which
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Um,
This is practically the breeding ground of Mormons.
yeah, wow, the breeding ground.
Yeah.
There was, but the Uber driver, I got into a good conversation with him, and he told me, he said, he just starts asking me questions, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Listen, God puts people in my Uber."
Oh,
He's like, "That's
dang.
what I believe. I
No
believe
way.
God puts people in my Uber," and
That's
so he
crazy.
witnesses, and it's cool. But I bring that up because he too said, "I'm a Christian," right?
Yeah.
And that seems to be the
Yeah.
word,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's just like for us, it's just like people add dogma on top of the word Christian. It wasn't. This is one of the things that I had issues with, and that I wanted to ask Charlie. Actually, I was debating whether or not I wanted to ask him the historical thing, or if I wanted to ask him, "Hey, Charlie, to you, are Mormons Christian?" Because
Hmm.
historically, I understand how that term was used, and it was used as a derogatory term for people that followed Christ.
So it
Uh,
was used as a bad.
yeah, as a like a disrespectful gesture,
So
basically.
when you say people add dogma to Christianity, what does that mean?
So, well, to the word Christian. So basically, there was for the first few centuries of Christianity, this development of Christianity, you had all these different Christologies of the
Mm-hmm.
belief of like who was Christ, what was his relationship with the Father, like are they all one God, are they all separate gods, are they one subordinate to the other, like what is this, what's the whole ontology of God, how does this work? And the thing is that they were all Christ followers. None of them were not calling each other Christians. Even Paul, who was confronting in his epistles,
Yeah.
people that were teaching heretical things, he says, "Are we not all baptized Christians, brothers and sisters in Christ?" So it wasn't like you believe one dogma, this makes you a Christian. It's was you believe in Christ, you do your best to follow him and understand him. That's what makes you a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned into this thing where in the Catholic Church, or even mainstream Christianity, it's if you don't believe in the Trinity, you're not a Christian. You have to believe in the Trinity
Do
if
you
you're a
believe in the
Christian.
Trinity?
No, so LDS people, we
You
believe.
believe in it's a singular spirit.
No. So like we believe in the persons and like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but we don't believe in the articulation of what the Trinity is. So for instance, it's all within the semantics. Like if you were to say that the Trinity were three distinct beings all united in purpose, we would say, yeah, we could believe that. Yeah, if that's how you're defining the Trinity, we believe that. But if you say that the Trinity is this one being, it not separated, in three distinct persons, all consubstantial, co-eternal, without beginning, without end, without seeming the share essence, sharing one single essence, and all these things like the Athanasius Creed articulates, then no.
What does Jesus mean when he said in John, he said, I and the Father are one?
Yeah, John 10:30. Our understanding is that when you read the context, he's talking about how unified he is with the Father in regards to like, if me and my Father are going to do a project, I'm gonna be, and he's the leader. I'm 100% unified with his mission. I'm doing whatever he tells me to do.
Hmm.
That's what he means when he says I and the Father are one. Because when he's prior to him saying those things, Jesus is talking about how like the Father has given me my sheep, and my sheep I will not lose.
Hmm.
He goes, for my sheep hear my voice, and I and my Father are one. And we see the same rhetoric or rhetorical statements. I guess it's not. I wouldn't say rhetorical, but we see the same statements in John 17. This is the thing that we use to define our stance of like what the Godhead is. We refer to it as the Godhead, Father,
Mhm.
Son, and Holy Spirit. That there are three distinct people, three distinct beings, but all glory is to go to the Father. In John 17, Jesus quite literally says,
Keep going.
"Hey, Father, I pray thee that they will be one, just as me and you are one, that they may be one in us." Now, if you're to take that quite literally and say that, hey, um, this I and the Father are one makes them the one singular God, or whatever, then you have to include the saints that believe in them. We are now God because that's how you defined oneness. With us, that's not how we define oneness. We define oneness as how Jesus says, that we share in the same mission, will, and I guess you could say, I don't know, I guess I would just say mission, purpose, right? As the Father does. And just like Jesus said, I do nothing of my own will, but what the Father commands me to do. That's what the saints are supposed to do. We're supposed to follow Christ as he follows the Father because he follows him perfectly. And that makes us all one.
Other than historical evidence, what would you say the Book of Mormon is adding to the scripture? Is it nothing than support, or is there more
It's
rules?
testimony.
Is there more?
It's just adding more testimony that Jesus is the Christ.
Mm.
That God did not stop in the Middle East talking to his children,
Mhm.
and that God still speaks today. The biggest thing with the Book of Mormon is to, one, clarify doctrine, and two, show us as God's children that he is the same today, forever, and always,
Mhm.
and that he will always speak to his children and guide his children.
Mhm.
It's what he's always done. And so for us, when we look at people that question us for our faith of, you guys aren't Christians because you guys think Revelation's still true, that you have prophets, that the canon of Scripture is open. I was like, okay, show me where it says otherwise.
Mhm.
Are you going to advocate that God changes and that he all of a sudden stops talking to his children as that's part of his character or something?
Mhm.
Because I don't see that in the Bible.
So in the New Testament, are we
Bound to the
can
law or not bound to the
yeah,
law?
can we not can that change? Can the
What's
teachings of Jesus change for today?
Well, and here's the thing. In the Torah, in the Hebrew scriptures, God says, my law is forever. My Torah is forever. It's eternal, it's everlasting.
Mhm.
So either God lied then or Jesus is lying.
Hmm.
Jesus also said, yeah, I come to fulfill the law, but don't think I came to abolish the law.
Hmm.
Now, there are things where God alters laws. And we see that. We see that, David going into the tabernacle into the holy place where they kept the shewbread for the priest, he's not supposed to do that. He's not a Levite. The penalty for that is death in Levitical law. That wasn't held for David.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is that God has exceptions,
Mm-hmm.
and he has exceptions to his law. That doesn't mean his law is not relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, whenever Paul or the apostles, when they come to the council in Jerusalem, when their discussion, okay, let's talk about this, because everyone talks about Galatians 1:8. Everyone's like, if an angel comes and preaches another gospel unto you, let him be accursed or whatever. And then I'm like, yeah, the LDS church is very cursed, man. We're very unsuccessful here. But
Just go to Utah
yeah,
and find out.
Yeah, dude, just go to Utah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Or around the whole world, man. It's crazy. But I'll say, like, okay, first off, the context of that. So Paul is confronting Judaizers that are saying circumcision's necessary for salvation. And because that's part of the Torah, you have to be circumcised. And so Paul is teaching otherwise, though. He says, no, that's not.
Mm-hmm.
Who taught you this? And Paul is saying basically, like, if there's any other person, because it says angel, but angel means messenger in the Hebrew and in the Greek and stuff like that. So like Paul is referred to as a messenger. And so he's saying, if me or another messenger, angel, whatever, come and preach a different gospel than I have taught you, let him be accursed. He's telling the Judaizers that. And the Judaizers tell him in Galatians, he goes, go and confront Peter, James, and John in Jerusalem on this topic. Because they were to the understanding that it was necessary. You go read Acts 15, they talk about how, like, yeah, this was understood to be necessary for salvation. But they came to a consensus where at the end of the council, they're like, okay, this isn't necessary anymore. Keeping kosher is not necessary anymore, because they conflated, in his vision, it conflates unclean things versus clean things. And they come to the consensus that, these things are no longer needed. But at the same time, Paul throws in there, also, don't drink blood or eat blood, which is why Jehovah's Witnesses don't do any blood transplants, and where they take that pretty literally. So, but yeah, so like that's part of the reason why I feel like, one, context matters. It doesn't make us any other, like we can disagree. Like, obviously we have different perspectives and stuff. But for us to refer to us as not Christian because we don't hold your perspective, for me, it's kind of like, okay, that's fine. Like, we can disagree. I wouldn't say I'm a Christian, though, because I choose to put it more in context than you do.
Do you think if you had the chance to ask Charlie Kirk that question, do you consider Mormons to be Christian? What do you think he would have said?
I think he would have said yes. To be honest, I think he would have said yes, because he praised us already on just how we are characters and how we live our lives. It's very Christ-like, and he referred to a lot of his team as Mormons. He goes,
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he says, I got so and so's Mormon, so and so's Mormon, so and so's Mormon. I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't think he would say in front of his team, and nor do I actually believe he would actually think this, that, yeah, I don't think you guys are Mormon. You know what I mean? Or Christian.
Well, let's circle back to September 10th. When you think about Charlie, when you think about all of it, everything he's accomplished, you followed him for a while, like you said.
Yeah, for a couple of years there, I really listened to his stuff pretty frequently. Yeah.
If you had to name one thing, what's the biggest thing that you or anyone should learn from Charlie?
Go at discussions, go at dialogue, and don't go with ill intent. His whole thing was going with intent to correct misconceptions, but he's not trying to, it's not like he was going to try and pick a fight. He wants to be able to find common ground. So for me, what I've realized is, even with my debates on religion, I even myself, I understand it's subjective. A lot of it is. I don't go in there trying to now make people look dumb.
Right.
Some people might be real passionate to where, like, it's hard for them to not put themselves in that situation. Right. But my intent is like, listen, dude, this is what I know. And this is what other people know. But I'm not here to make you look dumb.
Yeah.
I'm just here to educate.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm not saying I can't learn anything from another side. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
But at least go to find common ground. That's
And
what
go.
emphasis.
And go.
Go.
Yeah.
Go find common ground where you disagree.
I think for me, it's something I've already said today, but I think this was also on the George Janko podcast or wherever it may have been. He had said, Charlie had talked about a Christian actually being a Christian versus just, I went to Easter Sunday and I raised my hand just in case. I say I believe in God and go to church just in case, and treating Christianity like an insurance policy. That's reflected with me a lot because sometimes it feels like that.
I like that you said that here. Tell me if this doesn't sound like what Charlie just said. Let's see. Here we go. For there is no respect of persons with God. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified.
What is that from?
Romans 2.
Romans 2?
Paul. Basically calling out the hypocrites of
Yeah.
people will confess that there's something, but then don't do it.
Yeah. But that's often where I guess lately I've just been feeling like, where do I stand in that?
Yeah.
How effective am I? And
Faith like Charlie, man, right?
yeah, faith like
Faith
Charlie.
like Charlie.
Make America Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. It's one of those things we're gonna start looking inwards and be like, okay, where can I progress?
Yeah.
Where are
bet.
my flaws, man?
And
where are my
that's-
flaws?
Yeah. And that's where I think, like, there's a question of, which we already addressed, why was Charlie Kirk killed? But then the other question is, what did he die for? And I can think very personally on that of, if I personally have to give a reason for Charlie Kirk to have died for, something for him to die for, what can I do about my faith, my mission, to justify it, to make it so he died for something? And I know he did. I think he died for a lot. I know he did. But
Well, he died advocating for a lot.
yeah.
For his faith, unborn children,
Mm-hmm.
freedom of speech, like limited government to a degree.
Yeah.
Stuff that allows us to live free
Yeah.
and give the same opportunity to everyone.
Yeah. I think that my message would be, from with what I'm feeling from just the impact of what had happened,
Yeah.
I just feel like I want people to hear, let's not be afraid. Let's be bold. Let's be more bold. Let's be Charlie.
I was speaking with a girl yesterday that was there at the congressman's house, and she told me, like, for a second, like, yeah, I'm kind of like timid to express my opinions because I don't want to offend anyone.
Forget about it.
Why?
Forget about it.
Why? And she's a sweetheart. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. She is a sweetheart, and like the fact that she has that self, I guess you could say, acknowledgement that,
Mhm.
hey, I could my words can potentially hurt
Yep.
someone's feelings.
Yep.
I get that, but when it comes to things that are
Was
important
Jesus
issues-
afraid to offend
Yeah,
someone? Was Jesus ever
exactly.
afraid to offend people?
I don't think Jesus was. And Jesus definitely wasn't. He called people vipers. He called people, Satan. He called he called Peter. He called him the devil. He said, step back away from me, Satan.
Wow.
Whenever he tried to go against Jesus, saying, I must go to Jerusalem and be crucified.
Well,
That's when Peter was like, no, I'm not going to let that happen. He
Yeah.
says, step aside, stay away from me, Satan.
wow.
So like, Jesus was not afraid, definitely, to express his opinion.
Ever.
It's actually what got him killed.
Killed. It's what got
Yeah.
him killed.
It's what got him killed. So it's a common denominator the more we look at it.
It is. Well, Henry, I'm sorry for what you've gone through. I'm sorry for
Yeah.
what you've been through. I'm sorry you have to live with it. But I want to thank you for just having a message and having like that boldness to sit here and proclaim your beliefs. And thank you for sharing what you believe with me. Thank you for sharing your faith and your testimony and your story with what happened on September 10th.
Yeah.
Any words you want to get out there?
I think change is coming. Change is coming, but it doesn't need to be change in the wrong direction. It needs to be changed through what Charlie would do. Find common ground, continue to push forward, carry on his message. I think there's too much rhetoric right now going on about Civil War this, Civil War that. That's not what he would want. I don't think that's what this country needs. This country needs to come together. And I think there's going to be more advocates for that. I think that's what we need to do. I think that's primarily what my message is, that we all need to focus on doing what we can do to bring this country more together. I got friends, like you said, that are on different aisles, different sides of the aisle. And I messaged one from California actually after it happened. And I told her, she says, yeah, she said, I don't really agree on Charlie much, or I have a different perspective on him. But she goes, but that was still messed up. I said, you know what I like about you? I was like, me and you can have difference in opinion, but we know how to find common ground.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I think that's what we need to do.
I asked some friends back home, my friend AJ, I said, hey, do you have any question you want me to ask? And he said, ask him how we can pray for him. How can we pray for you?
Dude, just pray that I'm able whenever, because I know it's going to happen. Pray that whenever my feelings start coming out about this, my emotions, I handle them okay.
We will be praying for you. And thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks
Stay
for
in touch,
having me,
okay?
man. Yeah,
all right.
We'll stay in touch.
Thanks, Henry.
Thanks.